Alabama Attorney General overturns a sentence of a cop who killed an unarmed man. Alabama, Aaron Cody Smith, former Montgomery police officer, was convicted of killing an unarmed Greg Gunn on the right in February 2016. Set free after reaching a plea deal with the Alabama Attorney General. Smith was originally sentenced to spend 14 years in prison in January 2020 for killing an unarmed Black man. Let's give you some background on the incident. Smith stopped 58-year-old Gunn just after 3 a.m., February 25th, 2016. This Gunn was walking home from a friend's house after a card game. When Smith, who was 23 at the time, started frisking and searching Gunn ran away from the pat-down. Smith chased, tased, and beat Gunn with his baton. He admitted. Former officer claims Gunn tried to defend himself with a long paint roller he picked up from a neighbor's porch, upon which Smith shot Gunn. He fired off 7 shots, 5 of which hit Gunn. Walking home from a card game. Details provided by Atlanta Black Star. Tonight is the night you die. Gunn died just steps away from the home he shared with his mother. There's no body cam footage of the shooting because Smith did not activate his body cam at the time. Smith was originally charged with murder, but a jury ultimately found him guilty on the lesser charge of manslaughter in November 2019. And isn't that a gift? Because dead men can't talk and you're the only one left to tell the story. Still, a jury found you guilty, lesser charge. You're the only one that can tell us what happened that night. And conveniently, the body cam. Guess you forgot to activate it. After the sentencing, 2 months later, he remained free on bond as he made appeals in 2020 and 2022, which were rejected. Smith began serving his prison sentence May 10th, 2022. When the state Supreme Court rejected his appeal in December of that year, he filed what is known as a Rule 32 petition seeking to overturn his conviction. Well, that sounds like a long shot. Well, that'll never work. Your appeal's rejected. A jury of your peers said you're guilty. So this Rule 32, I don't have a law degree, but I suspect it's a long shot. It's a desperate attempt, right? Well, we'll see. We'll see. The Office of Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall assumed control of Smith's case from the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office earlier this month, but never specified why. Sounds like a setup. Montgomery County District Attorney Daryl Bailey released a statement on Facebook after the decision was made, saying he had, quote, no choice but to comply with the Attorney General's directive, and was deeply disappointed that he couldn't continue prosecuting the case. Maybe. A few weeks later, after Marshall took over the case, his office announced it came to a plea deal with Smith, allowing him to plead guilty to manslaughter, same charge he was convicted of and sentenced for. It seems like a waste of time and energy. And be released immediately from prison. Smith was released from prison nearly 8 years to the day after the shooting. He only served 21 months of his sentence. Quote, I firmly believe that Mr. Smith was due a new trial, but after 8 years of watching this protracted litigation, I exerted my authority to bring this case to a close, Marshall said in a statement. Mr. Smith has pleaded guilty to the offense for which he was convicted in exchange for returning to his family. You've got to be kidding me. I believe that this is a fair and appropriate outcome. If only I could continue the quote. In a white privileged nation that doesn't value the lives of Black people. That's how I would have continued the quote, just in full transparency. Marshall said he spent time with the Gunn family and was acutely aware of the pain and suffering they experienced, but shared that he hoped they would, quote, find some closure and healing with this matter finally resolved. Before he was shot and killed, Gunn was taking care of his 80-year-old mother. He was the second born of 8 siblings in his family, first to graduate college, take care of his family after his eldest brother died of cancer and his parents divorced. His father, Frank Gunn Jr., was reportedly one of the first Black police officers to be sworn into the Montgomery Police Department. Bailey sent AL.com a statement about Smith's release, which said he was very disappointed. Smith is being released early, which is a privilege. There's that word again. Not afforded to most convicted killers. I have no proof whatsoever, but I smell a setup. I smell phone calls and WhatsApp. And well, here's what we're going to do. Just let it run its course and then I'll take care of it. But I want to see a little resistance to protect me in my office, and then I'll get him out of there. I don't know who knows who, or if it even matters. You look like me, I look like you. I'm going to help you out. This Black man should not be sending you anywhere for any amount of time. I want to throw up, Senator. I want to vomit. I'm so sick of these stories where a mother is in pain, an 80-year-old mother who relied on her son, and forget about that, loves her son, who is bleeding out, steps from the home they shared, slow singing, flower bringing, and in the end, no justice. And you know what? You're going to take it because Black people have been trained to take it. And this is what we intend to do, will do, and you can't do anything about it.
Ooh, Sharon Reed, you hitting it. I mean, I sigh deeply so I don't have to curse deeply. This was totally a miscarriage of justice all the way around. And I do agree with you. I mean, our common sense would say something is totally up with this. This does not pass the smell test. And I know of cases of people committing robbery, unarmed robbery, not justifying stealing anything, who's got more time than this officer has, with nobody hurt and no gun presence, have served more time than this former officer did. And then for just the callous indifference, and to say that you hope that the family will find some closure, and closure how? Because this is totally, not just is it unjust, it is ridiculous, but it is normal. It's common.
Yeah.
So Sharon, your soliloquy on this is what Black people live with and endure at the hands of a legal system that was never designed. I want our viewers to understand this clearly, and those who may just only be listening to us. The legal system in the United States of America historically was never designed for Black people to be treated as equals, ever. And so we have to force it to do the right thing. And that's through policy, that is through laws, that is through how law enforcement agencies comport themselves internally, but it's not gonna happen by osmosis. Now, I know this might be breaking news for some folks, but I want them to understand this and understand this clearly. The United States of America, as created, as envisioned, as formed, never had within its purview for descendants of enslaved people to be treated as full and equal citizens. And it plays out every single generation. We are reminded, and the legal system is working exactly the way that it was designed to work, to treat us differently. And that's it, Sharon. I mean, I don't know what else, how many ways we can say that. That is the reality. Now, let me go to a however. Just because that is true today and it was true 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago, does not mean it has to be true moving forward. But we need substantive change within the legal system and a recognition that Black people, that Black bodies are treated differently. And that Black pain is not recognized in this country. How can Black lives don't matter because Black pain doesn't matter? It doesn't register.
No. Senator, we have such loyal, passionate audience members here at TYT. There are others who have stumbled upon this program at this moment, and they've listened to you, they've heard me, And the word radical pops into their mind because they don't know their history or they're afraid of it. They're afraid to know their history. What you just said is plain, simple truth. It is not amped up, and I don't have a problem with being radical, but it's not radical. It's actually based on the truth. This
Sharon, all they got to
country,
do,
they
I
just
mean, and I'm sorry, all they got to do is do
no.
some research. They don't have to take our word for it. But are we supposed to be cool, calm, and collected about this kind of stuff? We don't have the luxury to do that. You know, it was Ella Baker who said, "We who believe in we who believe in justice, cannot rest."
Wow.
We can't rest. But she was making that reference, though. People use her quote, and I might not be quoting it verbatim.
We got it.
She was using that quote, though, in the context of, she went further and said that until this country feels the pain of Black mothers, that they care as much about Black sons as they do about white mothers and white sons, there will be no justice in this country. And again, I'm paraphrasing her. We who believe in justice cannot rest. They need to go and read the full quote, because people stop at that part, but they don't give the context as to why the great Ella Baker was saying those words. It is about Black pain. So Sharon, they don't have to take our word for it. All they got to do is read history, look at the pattern, look at the laws, look at how this country was formed, look at how laws were put in place that were more harsh towards Black people than they were to white people for a very long time. All white juries, hello? I mean, and what they think we're not making this stuff up and pulling it out of thin air. It is a pattern. And until and unless that pattern is changed, we're gonna continue to get what we got in the 20th century, the 19th century, 18th century. It's just gussied up a little bit. It's just made up a little bit. Just got lipstick on it and blush and all that other kind of stuff made pretty. But it is connected to the same forces that formed this nation. Now that's the truth.
You better stop fearing what is the truth. You better stop fearing history. Trayvon should be here. I cannot. I stare at his mother's picture. Jordan should be here. Lucy McBath. I pray for you. I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. That's a luxury that so many other Black mothers, fathers don't have. We are in danger. And until there's a recognition of this, until there's some empathy, some kind of recognition that you're not the only ones that matter, this is going to come to a head. Now, I don't know how. I suspect it's going to have to be forced. There are those who say, you know what? Forget about politics. Take over the party. Politics are about agenda. Push yours. Take over a party and push your agenda of survival and success through. Now, that's a war in the making, and it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Just one more thing.
Just share, just real quick, and I know we got to go to break. I wanted to pull it up. We who believe in freedom, it wasn't justice. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. She went on to say, until the killing of Black men, Black mothers' sons become as important to the rest of the country as the killing of white mothers' sons, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. It was true when she said those words, and it's true today. That's it.
The Montgomery Attorney General, Mr. Marshall, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. But I know you're not. I know you're not.